Welcome on Nawo TV Live. My name is Chiri Peters. Today is 2nd of August. Today is not as normal as it used to be. The hustling and bustling of businesses came to a short. Traffic also became something peculiar for security agencies and traffic warders to clear. Reason because Nigeria, Africa's largest oil producing country and a member of OPEC, ended first subsidy on May 29. Of course, forcing the cost of gasoline to shoot up from 191 to 617 naira virtually overnight, and putting Nigeria in fear of another increment that is coming shortly, which of course not verified yet. Furious Nigerian, particularly organized labor, have taken to the streets to protest against what they see as government anti-people's policy, asking the Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to reverse the PMS price and of course fix Nigerian refineries. In Asaba, Delta State, Comrade Bolum Wachuku, the chairman of TUC, chairman Association of Senior Civil Servant of Nigeria in Delta State and South, spoke with Valentine Agogo about the protest and what the labor union want to achieve with the protest. Of course, you can hear him speak.
So quickly, sir, I want to just find out from you, the chairman of the TUC, how the protest has been, because we could see that it's been a very lengthy parade, and despite the rains, people stayed. I saw a lot of people on the vehicles without covers and still happily going through the protest. How has it been so far today?
I think it's a huge success today. We anticipated a huge success because Nigerians are not happy. So people came out voluntarily to peacefully protest. That is the most important thing. The fear was that it was going to be hijacked, but just like I said before the protest, that who is going to hijack it? The same Nigerians who are involved. It's our protest. What has happened today is just to show that Nigerians are not happy, and we're actually not happy. It is nothing to do with workers alone. It has to do with the people, the masses. That is why nobody wanted to disrupt it. Nobody went against the rules. Everybody had that peaceful protest and were able to speak our mind to the government. I expect government to respond. I expect government to do the right thing. We're not asking for too much. We're just asking for us to survive, enable us to live. Let the poor breathe. Let the workers breathe. So I think the protest is a success. In Delta State, it's a huge success. The police was wonderful. The ASS, the security agencies, they were wonderful. They were with us throughout. The representative of the governor was wonderful. Everything went well. Kudos to the workers and the Deltan people. And from what I've seen so far, from the news reports, I think it's also a success in other states of the country.
So would you boldly say that it's a unified a protest nationwide, saying that we had some issues some days ago about some regions trying to break out from the entire goal of this protest?
Yes, it's a unified protest. I laughed when I heard they're saying some persons are breaking up. First, government started with the propaganda saying that NLC had called it off, that NLC has suspended it. I laughed. While we were in a meeting, we were getting calls that they said they suspended it. I say, this is funny. Let us stop playing this game, for God's sake. You are trying to dissuade people from coming out. Then the next thing, they made some persons come to speak that they are not going to be part of it. But they were all part of it at the end of the day, which means those who were speaking were not part of labor. That's the truth.
Very, very interesting indeed. All right, so with the procedure so far, seeing fully well that the NLC were giving court injunctions but not to embark on strike, rather protest, peaceful protest, and we've already started today, hopefully to last for another 7 days. All right, so at the end of the 7 days, if the government doesn't respond, are there measures that the NLC will put in place to alter or to challenge the court injunctions to ensure that we have a strike in place that would eventually force the government to respond to the needs of the people and take back the hands of time to fix this unusual fuel hike?
Well, what I will tell is that strike is just one of the many tools in the hands of organized labor. Strike is not the ultimate. There are so many ways to kill a rat. Either you boil water, you sniff it in the hole, you use stick to heal it, the rat must die. The truth is that whether they go to court and say we must not go on strike, yes, we can do other things. One of them is protest, which is even more dangerous. Going on strike or mobilizing the entire country against your policy, against the government, which is more dangerous. I think it would have been easier for them to allow us go on strike than to say we shouldn't go on strike, and it's our right to protest. As long as the protest is peaceful, it does a lot of damage to the government of the day if they must listen. So if I would advise them, I would ask them to listen to the people. Mutiny, revolution, starts with simple question, and we're asking question. So government should better listen to the people. It is not labor. We're only taking the lead. It is the Nigerian people that are protesting. You could see what happened today. When we started off from Labour House, you saw the number. But as soon as we stepped out of Labour House, you saw persons joining. You saw people looking out from windows, videoing, encouraging us. Even when the rain was threatening, more persons were coming in. When I looked back, I saw the lineup. I said, this is wonderful. Nigerians are tired. We need to breathe. The next protest, if they don't stop it, if they don't do the right thing, the next protest will be larger than this, and it will continue to increase. So nobody is going to hijack anything because the people own the protest. Everybody you think would hijack is a Nigerian, is suffering. Except if government, the politicians will want to hijack it themselves. Let them come out, we'll welcome them. We'll be there.
Okay, so I heard when you were speaking now, you mentioned about people joining in and all that. You know, earlier today, there were a lot of skepticism about the effect of this protest. That it was going to be weak, but it turned out to be the reverse. Now, is this going to be a daily exercise, or it's something that is going to be periodically?
Yeah, it will be determined. What we're actually looking at for now, it's supposed to be periodical. Yeah, today we've had a protest, we'll review, we'll continue discussing with government. Maybe this time again, next week, we do it again. Like we have not decided, we want to see, because we don't just want to bring people out on the street for the sake of bringing people out. The goal is to let government do the right thing. So if they are ready to do the right thing, of course, we are open to discussion. We are open to dialogue. We are open to getting the things done. So we're not just protesting for the sake of protest. It's not just an exercise in futility. So once government responds, we stop protesting and begin to talk. And we are not interested in just talking, but doing the talk. That is what we're asking for.
One final question, sir. I know you're a very busy person. Now, we are aware that this strike is basically primarily for the reversal of this absurd fuel hike. Now, are we going to have subsequent interventions by the NLC, active interventions like this one, for other pressing issues that may arise in this country? Because we've had a lot of things come out over the period of time, and the NLC has been kind of quiet or absent from the picture. But now we are seeing them like the NLC we used to know. All right. So is there any possibility of the NLC and the TUC taking up more responsibilities in the affairs that affect the nation at large?
Well, let me correct one impression. It's not just about the subsidy removal. If you listen to us, it's about everything, every government policy that is against the poor, against the country, against the people. We're talking of government policies that are against the interest of the people. The fuel price is one of them. And we are talking about doing things right. We in the labor circle, we are not against the removal of subsidy if there is subsidy. What we're against is making us pay the subsidy. Because what is exactly happening in the country now is that we are the ones paying the subsidy. They say they removed subsidy, increase the pump price, then we now pay the subsidy directly. You say you were paying on our behalf before, you want to stop it. Then you now ask us to pay. For God's sake, every serious government, every government that knows what it's supposed to do subsidizes power, that's energy, subsidizes food. America subsidizes food, power, even health. Because that is why they are there for the people. We pay tax. What do you do with our money? The president told us that he has saved about 3 trillion, Abi, within this time. Is it saved or we have contributed 3 trillion? Because this 3 trillion, where did it come from? From us. Each time you go to buy fuel, you contribute to that. If that money is actually there, use it to repair our refinery so that we know that we have repaired our refineries ourselves. And you stop importing fuel, and subsidy will disappear. It's as simple as that. Stop imposing taxes. Stop increasing rates. The food in the price in the market isn't going up. Everything is going up. Do something about it. We used to hear of cooperatives in those days. Price control, food. When I was growing up, I remember when I was little, there was price control. Once my father was a teacher, once my father went to a shop to buy milk, when they were doing price control, because he was well dressed, they thought it was a price control officer. And they gave him the price of milk very ridiculously, so he bought more. After that, I now told them that he's the headmaster of that school. They said, I beg, sorry, that's not what we're selling. He said, no, you have to obey the government. So things like that has happened in the past. So we need to see them. We need to see government build cooperatives where they sell foodstuffs to the people at controlled prices. It used to be there. I was born and brought up here in this country. I've never traveled abroad for school or anything. So I know how we used to live. In the 70s, in the 80s, we want to see it back. Nigeria has not changed. It's the government that has changed. We want to see Nigerians bounce back to life. We want to see $1 being equal to 1 naira or even some kobo. It used to be like that. What do we need to do? Simple. Go into production. Nigerians are very intelligent people. We have all it takes to be productive. We have all it takes to turn Nigeria into a little China. They're not doing anything. Look at India. Producing. The Nigerians are very, very intelligent, very industrious. Give us the enabling environment. With the whole world will come and kneel before Nigeria. All we need is the right leadership. So it's not difficult. Let's stop stealing and do the right thing. When you do the right thing, you will still make the money. But make it right. That's all we're asking for. That's what Labour is asking for.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time. We've really been inspired by your answers and your response. I believe Nigerians will be further clarified on the goal and how to achieve them, and of course, subsequent times come out in mass to support this cause. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, sir.
Very interesting. This is much I'm going to take from Bolu Nwachukwu's interview, and of course, Valentine Agogo had plenty of time to interview the chairman of ASUS in Delta State, Comrade Kenneth Chiedu Oko, and of course, let's see what he has to say about the protest.
I am Kenneth Chukudi Oko.
Okay, I believe you're much more than that. The viewers would like to know more about you, sir.
Oh, I am State Chairman, Academic Staff Union of Secondary School Delta State Chapter, and the National Assistant Secretary General, same union.
Nice to meet you, sir. Those are quite heavy officers. Okay, so please, sir, how's the protest been today in Delta State, Asaba precisely?
All right, the protest went as it ought to be, successful. I think it was impactful too. So only we're waiting for what the outcome should be. So we are lucky the weather was friendly and the comrades' turnout was massive, encouraging for the leadership.
Were members of your own direct union, were they in full attendance?
Yeah. They were in attendance. Okay. Yeah.
And you could tell their involvement, full involvement.
They are involved. There is no way we can get 100% of the membership there because we have about 14,000 secondary school teachers in the state, and if you get the 14,000 of them to Asaba, then that means you will grind the traffic. So a good representation was recorded.
So, in your own your union precisely, how does this impact your union, like the union, the secondary school teachers union? How has this affected you guys to be fully involved, fully persuaded to run this course with the TUC, which you also belong to, and the Labour?
The question and the answer are equally massive. In the sense that, to be candid, I was actually thinking of a plan of how to carve out secondary school teachers to make our own impact, because we have the number. If I'm able to move 500 secondary school teachers in Delta State, I mean, it will make impact. Before our leaders now came up to say the show have to be day after tomorrow, so I sheathed the sword. So I would say it affected us. It's affecting us the most. That would be a kind of overshoot, but I know what I'm talking about, because we have to get to school by 7:30 a.m. because we deal with children, not adults, not files, right? So to get there, you just have to get fuel before that time if you ran out of fuel the previous day, and you have to buy it every day, and you may not at all time have to, or besides that, you have to pay your fare, which has been hiked. And if you're a teacher that has your subjects every day you just have to be in school.
Does that mean that if there is a subsidized transportation, that kind of meets some part of your problems, your needs?
Subsidized transportation will go a hell of a long way to be, I mean, a great relief to us, particularly because the question is specific. So it will go a long way, but not a minimum, not a paltry subsidy, and not a paltry subsidy to what is at stake now. We are totally in line with the dictates of the requirements of presentations of organized labor, that a reversal to 190 as it was before. You know, as teachers now, we are very particular as slight essence. So if we are even to say, we will say back to 86, but our labor leaders, you know, they see more, they know more, so they have to feel the pulse of government and also feel our pulse, and they now balance it there. And that is just the best thing to do. The best way to go is let them leave it there until the entire system agrees and see reason why it should go beyond that.
Okay, so one final word. How do you see this turning out at the end of the day? Like the president and the Senate has already said, they should let the poor breathe. Do you think that this movement will eventually make let the poor to breathe?
I would encourage Nigerians not to listen, not to take those statements into consideration, because I have learned not to take those statements into consideration. Let the poor breathe. Leonard Ravenhill once said that the aggravation of a pretense is the worst malady that can befall any people. So let the poor breathe, let the poor breathe. That is the saying. What is the doing to let the poor breathe? It's a case of giving somebody a heavy blow at the tummy and rubbing him on the head. They are giving a blow at the tummy by doing what they are doing that pushed us into the street, and they are using their mouth as rubbing us on the head to say, let the poor breathe. I hate that statement. It shouldn't have come from them.
So finally, what's your overview about the protest so far nationwide? Has the secondary school union, have they been also very impactful in other states nationally? And what are your expectations from this protest?
I will comment by answering that, you know, secondary school teachers, or teachers, as we say in mathematics, a constant in the workforce. So every state, there are unions you can't find in some states, but there are unions that are constant. So teachers are a mathematical or union constants in all the states of the 36 states of the Federation plus the FCT. So every state, the participation of teachers was impactful. I can say that even before the protest took place.
What are your expectations from this protest?
Yeah. Our expectations, I pray it be real, is that the federal government will reverse to a comfortable pump price of fuel that the poor they described can actually breathe, can be compatible with, not the one that will send us on a thinking spree at night because another day is about to come.
Yeah, very interesting. Moving around to hear from leaders of organized labor in Nigeria, particularly in Delta State, speaking about the protest, and of course anticipation that the protest might continue in the upper wave if the federal government does nothing to ameliorate or to alleviate the pains of Nigeria. My name is Chidi Peters. This is Noble TV Live. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and press that notification button to get more updates.